Oh, a double hit. Double devitalization. Fantastic at 929 hertz. Both organisms going at once. Very rare to catch on video. Look at that. Fantastic. Let's give it a little red filter and look at some of the texture. So I hope the camera doesn't flake out here. Stick with us here. Yeah, you see a little surface texture there. Look at that granulation of the remnant of the organism. Fantastic! Double devitalization at 929 hertz plus 10,164 hertz. The frequencies are being generated on the Macintosh computer and running a program I wrote called RB Square Gen 10. Which was the 10th generation, actually, of that program. And it's continuing to evolve. We're going to stick with it for a minute because it's pretty interesting to see what it's going to do. Let's see if we can't focus a little bit more. It's a little tricky with this half filter technique, but it does give you a really nice surface view of things. Excellent. Double devitalization. Blepharisma. This is Monday, August 27th, 2007. 929 hertz plus 10,164 hertz. A 100 watt plasma bulb, SWR 1.2. And we have one in real time happening here, kind of slow motion, real time. I'll have to move the slide to keep it centered. And this disintegration is happening in real time, 927 hertz. That's my first time I've seen that happen at 927 hertz. 100 watts, SWR 1.2, 927 hertz, ran for 562 seconds to start that. Plus, it's 927 hertz plus 10,164 hertz. Notice that the organism next to him is not doing this. This is kind of the mystery of this whole process. Not all organisms are affected. Look at the edges here. They start to take on a granulated shape and then they explode into a series of sphericals like that. But this organism is sitting here and looks completely fine. And let's take a chance and go up a notch here on the microscope slide, or microscope. Take a little closer look at these guys. Now that scale is wrong. Let me fix that scale. We're on the 20x objective. And you can see over here is the devitalized organism. And there's still some kind of action occurring inside that main sphere. It's pretty interesting. Something's happening in that sphere. Continued. Can't tell what it is. I might be able to do a little trick with the filter and give you a little surface resolution. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. I'm doing a sort of halfway onto a red filter, and you can see a sense of texture. And I'm adjusting the focus controls. It's like simulating a DIC filter. This is just a regular red filter. All kinds of activity happening on what looks to be the cell membrane there. I think if you look carefully, that does show up in the camera. Look left now. Oh, more spheres have been destroyed. And I wonder what happened to the other organism who's sitting right next door here. There he is. And you're getting a kind of a neat looking version of him. It's almost a three-dimensional effect. But he did not explode like his neighbor right next door. Nice photography there, I think. And we have a hit. This is live in real time. Dramatic devitalization. I'm not going to center the slide so that you can see it. Here's the scale though. Scale is accurate. We have 925 hertz, 100 watts, SWR 1.2. Feeding two frequencies in, 10,164 hertz and 925 hertz. Now maybe we'll center it. I'm going to keep an eye out on any other nearby organisms. It would be nice if we could brighten it up a little bit. Let's see what the computer will do for us here. It looks like we're getting continued degradation down in these little spheres which have been left over after the devitalization. And one of the spheres just burst. Indeed, something is continuing. It's a little bit hard to see though. I'm not sure if we need more light or why. Okay, that was a nice hit. Okay, we have another one live. Devitalization. Let's watch it carefully. This is 925 hertz plus 10,164 hertz. 100 watts, SWR 1.2, and that took about 10 minutes actually. And here is another one. Very slowly disintegrating. This is very interesting. That's me centering. Oh, here we go in real time. These effects in August. These are happening in August. Monday, August 27th, 2007. Sorry, the computer fell asleep. We still can see the end of the devitalization. It's happening at a very nice speed for photography here. Fascinating the way this is happening. Let's watch carefully. Sometimes a new organism is formed and swims away. I don't know if that'll happen. Let's see. He is completely disintegrated. Now I'm going to move it and center it a little bit. Okay. Let's watch it for a moment. The aftermath. And the scale is correct. You can see that some kind of action continues after the devitalization. There we go, one of the spheres exploded, another one exploded. And there's one large sphere left. Let's wait and see if it resists or if it is destroyed. I'm going to alter the focus just a little bit. A little sense of depth of field maybe. Very hard to see that remaining sphere. Okay, we have another one. We'll see if we can move fast enough and focus it. There it is, happening in your screen. This is in real time. Real-time dramatic devitalization. Look at that. Incredible. Look at that. Forms hundreds of tiny little bubbles or spheres or blisters. Explodes into a series of large and small spheres. And now I'm going to center the picture a little bit. And then sometimes continues to disintegrate. Let me change the exposure level just a tad, and maybe you'll see it a little bit better. Excellent. Okay, we have a little larger organism now. If I can center them and focus, you're watching this in real time. Frequency is 926 Hertz. I'll adjust the focus a little bit. 926 Hertz plus 10,164 Hertz. And he's been exposed for 625 seconds. So what's that, about 10 minutes? And this is happening in real time. The power level is 100 watts, wonderfully steady. SWR 1.2. Real-time devitalization of Blepharisma. First they are immobilized, and then they are destroyed, dissolved, or molecularly reorganized. We're not sure what. The apparatus that is doing this is a plasma light, helium gas stimulated by pulsed radio frequencies. There's a carrier frequency of 27 megahertz. And into that we do amplitude modulation of audio signals, 10,164 hertz and 926 hertz. And this is happening in real time. The plasma light causing this effect is about 5 inches away from the microscope slide. There are no wires attached, no metal plates. It's just whatever's causing the effect is passing through the air into the organism. And only select organisms are affected, although you can see here's another one who was similarly affected. But you also can find organisms who are not really dissolving, such as this organism here. He still has a little bit of motion, and he's not dissolving. Okay, we have another customer. We're having a great night here, filming devitalizations. This is live, in real time. I'll try to sharpen the focus a little bit for you. The scale is correct. This is about the 6th or 7th major reaction we've seen tonight. Alright, here we have what appears to be my first hit at 927 Hertz. I've never had one at 927. Let me adjust the exposure level a tad. Something is definitely happening to this guy, or already happened. Oh, I see, yeah, I see the spheres below him. He already broke up. This is what's remaining. And we have another one, if I can focus fast enough. Yo. There he is. Let me check the scale. We'll fix the scale for you here. And he is devitalizing at 927 hertz. There he goes. Now you can see a little more action happening. This is real time. Let's see if we can get that sort of contrast effect we had before. Oh, I don't want to interrupt this process. There we go. Now you see a little surface texture. I'm cheating a little touch of red filter in there. This is a real-time devitalization of a Blepharisma using a plasma light, which is sitting about 5 inches away from the center of the slide. And here we've added a little touch of red filter. Here we see some action here. The end of the process. Explosion on top. Many spheres of many sizes formed. Look over here, you'll see tiny organisms swimming around. So he's not dehydrated, he's not been boiled, he's not been ultrasonically zapped. We're not really sure what's causing the effect, some kind of resonance effect. Another hit. Devitalization. Let's see if we can get a little center of the picture. Hey, you see this tiny organism swimming just off the picture. This is 929 hertz. I'm a little confused as to what we're seeing. I see cilia action from this Blepharisma, but he looks like he's partially devitalized or reorganized, and he was maybe hooked to another one. Now, some of the organisms were actually connected in a V shape, a kind of a mating formation, and maybe this is what the situation was, because this looks like too much material. Notice here the tiny little spheres, which could be what's called the pearl chain effect. We do see that fairly commonly in these devitalizations. Yeah, something's continuing to happen here, so this is fairly recent. And I think he's trying to decide what he's going to do. If in fact that is the pearl chain effect, then the effects we're seeing may be caused by what's known as dielectrophoresis, or more specifically multi-frequency dielectrophoresis. This is 100 watts, SWR 1.2, 929 hertz, and it's real time. Let me see what I can do with I can adjust the focus a little bit. That organism is still alive on the right, and his cilia is still beating. We're going to watch him because if in fact this was two organisms connected and then devitalizing, that'll be the first time that that's happened. This definitely looks like too much mass for one organism. I think it's two organisms. Oh, it looks like the cilia action stopped. Nope, there's a little activity there still. It's hard to see. Trying to focus. The size is continuing to change. Very slow and subtle. Maybe that's all we're going to see from this guy. I'm just Just watching another organism up above in the microscope slide who has a very interesting shape. That's been 10 minutes or so. Frequency 929 hertz. Okay, maybe that's about as far as this guy's going to go today. Sometimes they reach a stage where they just stop. I don't know why that is. He might continue this later on. We're going to look for some more organisms. Okay, we have another victim here. Real time. Just caught the last half of that one. That's a 929 hertz, which is my first hit at 929. Fascinating. Something's happening. Can't tell if it is actively changing or it already changed and I missed it. I'll watch it for a moment and see. I'm on a new frequency of 928 hertz, so we'll see. I've never seen any hits at that frequency, but it could happen. No, he's not doing anything. I think he's done. He's not actively changing. Here's another one who is partially the way through the process. Oh, he's actually changing. Okay, let's watch him. Something's happening in real time with this guy. I need to check. Yep, the scale is correct. Yeah, watch him carefully in here. Some spheres are being ejected. And I think we're going to see a dramatic change. Look down here, something's breaking. This is 928 hertz plus 10,164 hertz. This is the first devitalization I filmed at 928 hertz, which makes this very interesting. It's also pretty slow. Maybe you can see things are happening down in the bottom. He's sort of devitalizing in two directions simultaneously. Let's watch him and see what we can see. I think I'm going to center him a little bit. Hang on. Okay, now he's more in the center of the slide. And then I can do this little effect I'll cheat. Oh, the computer fell asleep. Okay, watch the top. Here we go. Big changes here. Let's see if we can get a sort of a 3D profile effect here. Yeah, that's really nice. We'll try to focus that a little bit. Can you see that? That's a nice... You can see the surface beautifully in that. Very nice detail. It's like a differential interference contrast filter, but it's just a little bit of a red filter. And that was a devitalization at 928 hertz. And it had been running for about 500 seconds to get to that point. Okay, here's another one in the process of devitalizing. There I can highlight his outline. That's really interesting because it's a very, very slow motion kind of thing that's happening right here. I'm going to change the focal plane a little bit and see what's happening. Maybe we can reveal some more information. Celia is active. There's some tiny organisms inside. I believe that he ate. I am assuming that that blister forming in is part of him because he seems to be a break here. extending out, a bulging in the cell membrane area, but maybe he's actually on top of another organism who devitalized. But you can see the bend here would indicate that's part of him. Okay, introducing a new kind of microscope slide which has a grid. Unfortunately, the video camera blows up the center of the slide so big. That's the letter A, and you can see a Blepharisma swimming around it. So we have A, B. Trust me, looking through the scope, you really can see it. Here's the letter C. See if you can get a D. Here's the letter. Look at that Blepharisma swimming on the letter E. Isn't that hilarious? E, F, G, H, and the letter I has many Blepharisma. But those are just the letters atop these columns. And then we have a series of columns. Right? And then there are squares in there. And there are Blepharisma. Like there's one here. And down the left side are numbers. The rows. There's number 1. And here comes number 2. See some Blepharisma swimming in number 2. Here's 3. So it does kind of show up on the videotape. And that goes down to 9 down here. Here's a 9. Right? Monster 9 in the videotape. So these are grid slides. Welcome to grid slides. So now I can tell you, you're looking at 2C, because this is row 2, there's the big 2, and A, B, C, D. Oh, it was 2D, right? And I go up and you'll see the D. So now I'm able to tell you what's happening. 2D, there's 2D. You get a little sample of what's happening in 2D. Now they're actually above the grid. They don't feel the grid. It's underneath the glass. It's below on the other side of the slide, so they get a smooth surface. This is 2E, 2F. There's 3. We go back to 3A, B, 3C. It's pretty busy. D, 3E, 3F. So there's a wonderful new way to track what's happening with these experiments with grid slides. I-9, a little early slow action. Well, we get our first hit. It's going to be hard to get on the screen here. There he is. Because of the contrast is tough. Real time. Lighten it up a little there. There we go. Because of the grid and the grid slide, it's a little tough. And where is this happening? I'll tell you when he's done. 923 hertz plus 10,164 hertz. Real-time devitalization, 100 watts, 1.2 SWR. This is happening. It's being caused by a plasma bulb about 5 inches away from the slide. Devitalization. And I'll tell you where that was in a moment. Oh, it's still continuing here. Something's happening. Little action. Okay, and let me just stack out the microscope so I can tell you. Oh, there's another one happening in the same square. Let's see if we can get it. There it is. It's in the same square. Real time. The black line you're seeing is a grid line on the new grid slides. So here's 2 organisms happening into the same box on the grid. And I will identify that box as soon as they stop devitalizing. 923 hertz, 100 watts, 1.2 SWR. Maybe I can move a little bit over and we'll be able to get a little better view of what's happening. Okay, and I can lighten that if we need to. Have the exposure level on manual because the grid lines on the grid slide cause a lot of trouble. That's really interesting what's happening here. I think he's done. I'm not sure he's going to do any more disintegration. Sometimes they reach a point like that and they just stop. So the first two hits that I was able to record on video occurred in this box here. Let me back it out and see where that is. That was grid 7B. Okay, we've been going about 20 minutes and I want to show you that in there's 8 and 9B. Quite a few guys have stopped swimming or are very slow. There's 9B. Here's a guy shaped like a potato, which is usually a sign that he's been devitalized down here. Can you see that one? Good. So again, just trying to give you a sense of what's happening on the grid. 8 and 9 here. They have, you're seeing now 8. There's 9. We'll focus a little bit. See, they're very slow or stopped. That's 9B. 9C has a number of guys up near the box, the top of the box, very slow. 8C. 8D, some very slow guys here. There's 8D. See there. Yeah, they are moving. Okay. Anyway, you see quite a few have already started to slow down. There's one who got devitalized over there. But we didn't get the film, you can tell by the shape. Okay, we'll concentrate on filming the devitalizations now. Okay, here's one happening very slowly. I think there is some very slow action here. Very slow formation here. Let's check the scale is correct. And we have a partner of his who's maybe better. So with the microscope I'll show this. Yeah, this is real time. In the same grid. Hey, there we go, a real-time explosion. Devitalization. Let's get a little more contrast in there. Here we go. This is 924 hertz, the primary frequency. 100 watts, SWR 1.2. 225 seconds into 924 hertz, plus we add a 10,164 hertz, and of course there's a carrier frequency of 27 megahertz approximately. This is a dramatic devitalization. If I get a chance, I'll give you the grid location in a moment, but this is too important to film. Still needs a little more dark contrasting, I think. Here we go. Look at the bottom, reshaping, exploding. That was an excellent example. Give me a second and I'll find out where that happened. Real time. Fantastic. Devitalization of Blepharisma in real time. Watch carefully. Dramatic changing of the shape of the organism. This experiment's important because this is being done with a grid slide. In fact, it's my first grid slide, so I'm a little inexperienced in calling out the grid locations for these things. We're going to just continue to watch this devitalization. This is a very interesting one. Look at that, dramatic. And it's continuing to change shape. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to let it do what it's going to do. Look at that. Incredible. Seems to come in sort of little waves. Look at the very teeny tiny organism down here. I don't know if you can see it. Fascinating. This is a very lengthy. Now from the other end, he's going to continue and explode. 924 hertz plus 10,164 hertz. 100 watts. SWR 1.2. This is being caused by a plasma light, helium plasma light, which is about 5 inches away from this organism. There are no wires going to the slide or the microscope. Let me see if I can find out the grid that happened in. Stand by. So there were 2 organisms here in 8G. That was 8G, grid 8G, and we had another organism in 8G over here who didn't quite finish the process. Okay, we have somebody here. Looks like we might have 2 friends participating in the experiment. Let's see what we can get there. Okay, we can focus. You can see that the end is already here, begin to disintegrate, but I don't know if it's going to continue, or I think we'll watch it for a minute. This is 925 hertz, and it's only been on for 90 seconds or so. Let's keep an eye on this, see. Good picture. There you have a good view of the outline of the organism. I'm going to watch this other guy down here. Ah, there's another. Well, we're waiting for that. Right below him is this other one who's looking promising. So if you can see that. He's getting like a rupture in his side. He's taking his sweet time though. Oh, that was grid 8B we were filming. 8B. Okay, here's one. Lighten it up for you a little bit. You can see he's distorted. But a neighbor swims by unaffected. This is 926 hertz. That frequency has been known to affect quite a few organisms over time. You can see there's a large distension here. We might follow him for a minute. See what happens to him. So there's another one right above him. We'll jump to that for a sec. This guy also has a blister. So we might get two at once. This one's growing. Lighten it up a little bit. This is 926 hertz. I'm getting 2 hits on that grid. He's tough though. Different organisms do seem to have a different stamina or level of resistance. I've seen some actually swimming at high speed when they suddenly exploded into dozens of spheres. So they don't always stop moving, and he's clearly struggling here, changing the focus a little bit so you get a different picture. That shows a good outline of the organism. You can see where the outline is broken, is where he's distended here. Changing 100 watts, 926 hertz. And right above him is another one, and I'm going to watch both of them and see what happens. It's 360 seconds so far. It's about 6 minutes, I guess. But I'm only using a 100 watt phanotron bulb, and it's about 5 inches from the slide where this organism is located. There are no wires leading from the bulb to the slide, and no metal plates behind or under the microscope. Just a normal microscope with a light bulb next to it. And we'll pause the camera. This guy's taking his good sweet time here. And it turns out this is grid 7H. Grid 7H. Consider that for you a little bit. He's struggling along in grid 7H, as is his partner here. Also with a distension here. See that? Grid 7H. I suppose I could increase the power level slightly, and it might push him over the edge, but I don't want to overdrive my amplifier or my phanotron bulb, which is rated at 100 watts. Now just below him, in 8H, grid 8H, is this guy. You can also see he's got a little growth on the side. So we have 8H, something is happening to him. H. There he is, 8H. And if we go up to 7H, we have this guy. Still hanging in there. And also in 7H is this guy. Hang on, we'll get him. He's in 7H also. These guys are getting pretty round looking. Here's somebody who's already undergone a change. I don't think he's changing now. It's a small organism swimming up to him. The cilia is not moving. Okay, now I'm going to go across the grid slide. I ran the experiment for about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 40 minutes, and show you some effects here. 9A, 9B. Lots of them dead, misshapen. 9C. There's 9C. 9D. You see that at the top of the screen? There's some over here. 9D. 9E. 9F. Blank. 9G. 9H. 9I. Let's go to 8I. There's 8I. Let me focus a little bit. Okay, guess that's focused. 8I, 8H, little movement there. 8G, 8F. Eight E, significant. 8E, there's some more up there. 8D, something at the top. 8C, several to see here. Here's one moving. 8B. 8A blank. 7A. Looks blank. 7B. Alright, there he is. 7B. Down here's some guys moving down at the bottom of 7B. 7C. 7D. It's a conjugal pair. 7E. Some movement. 7F. Moving. Quite a few moving. 7F. Look at that. 7G. Classic balloon shape. 7H. 7I. Let's go to 6. 6A. Happy and living. 6B. One slow. 6C blank. 6D. A few organisms here. 6E. Almost all moving in that square. 6F. Few Oh, oh, they're alive. 6F is doing fine. Something funny up in here at 6F. 6G, 2 guys. 6H, 3 guys. Let's go to 5. And of course, the swimmers are moving from square to square. Now, by the way, if you look at column A, there's 4A, 3A, and then a little before column A, look right on the numbers, 1, 2, 3. Can you see that? They're all over the place. They love this part of the slide. It's the furthest away from the plasma bulb on my extreme far right on the slide. See there? I'll show you that. They're all over the numbers. There's plenty of water in the slide. Quite a few guys are piling up there on the far edge. And as you get up to row 5 and 4 and 3, not so many effects. So it might be directional. There's row 1 and 2, so you quite a few guys hanging out there.